topic for you today is riding with other types of motorcycles and how to manage them. So today I'm on my Hammer 1275 Sporty, right? You know, pushing whatever, 90, 100 wheel horse, pretty powerful bike in Harley terms, and just kind of in general. My buddy's on his KLX 300 behind me. So, it's a big power difference. The type of bikes are very different. So, how do you make the ride fun for both people? It definitely can be tricky. Now, I think first of all, there's a threshold, right? If you're on a Gixxer 1000, it's going to be a little bit harder to make a ride fun for both of you, right? You're on super capable bikes for road, cornering use, and a dual sport, right? A little bit lower powered dual sport. It's going to be tricky. But some things you can do is that's tough. But if you're somewhere in the middle, right? 400cc dual sport and a cruiser type bike like mine, there's definitely some things you can do. So number one, right? You kind of got to avoid the interstate for the dual sport guy. You also kind of want to avoid 4-lane state routes, U.S. highways, stuff anything that's just a little higher speed, really kind of requires you to, have that potential to go 80 miles an hour because the bikes just won't do it, right? But if you find roads kind of like this, it's just like a back road, some curves, but not like crazy mountain twisties necessarily where the dual sport tires aren't as happy on. It's kind of a good blend where you can rip around and have fun, not leave them in the dust, and you're both having a good time. So it's just kind of the way that you go about planning the ride route-wise. That's the number one thing. Yeah. So when you have dual sport friends and you're on a ride with them, expect the unexpected. That was sketchy. If you pick the right route. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to get over that. It can blend. And ideally, right, you're taking roads that are less than ideal sometimes for you. But it's just that I don't have the freaking traction. That's the problem. Ideal for them and vice versa. Ideal for you and less than ideal for them. And then that way you're kind of sharing the burden of having a bike, riding a bike on less than kind of the types of roads it wants to be on. If you don't mind taking your bike on a gravel road, you can throw a couple of stretches in there too for the dual sport guys. I don't personally mind. I think it's kind of fun. This is a little extra off-roading than I'm used to, but we'll make do. So I'll do that sometimes too. Just toss a little, a couple miles of gravel in there just for the fun of it. They can go rip around, slide their dual sport around, go ahead of you. And then, when you get back on the paved roads, maybe a nice straightaway, you can blast up to 100 or, whatever your thing is. Hit some twisties. You can kind of both enjoy the twisties for the most part. And that sort of thing, right? So it's just kind of a matter of blending the two bikes and finding a cohesive ride and route. And then the other big thing is riding style. So you have to understand the fact that I'm leading, I'm on the more powerful bike, right? Well, I can go gun it and accelerate from a stop, but you got to be considerate to your friends and slow back down. And you don't want to just slow back down to your cruising speed. You want to slow back down 10 miles an hour below it to give them a chance to catch up more easily, so they're not just tapping their bike out if they don't want to, right? Because if I go, our cruising speed's 60, because that's comfortable speed for his bike. And so if I, accelerate to 90, let's say, and then, I'm way ahead of him, I'm going to have to slow down to 40 or 50, just give him time to catch up, and then I can go back up to that 60, just so that I'm not forcing him to just pin the bike for minutes on end to kind of catch back up. So, that's just kind of the courteous thing to do. If you can't control yourself and you don't have the best, self-control, then maybe you shouldn't be a leader, right? That's responsibility in and of itself. It's literally saying to yourself, you know what? I'm not responsible enough to be the leader because I'm going to go do whatever and kind of screw up the group dynamic. So maybe you, park yourself at the back of the group and let somebody else lead, ideally, if the person on the slowest bike is experienced and comfortable with group riding, let them lead. It's beautiful scenery, by the way, but let them lead, and then that way it's like they're setting the pace, right? And then you can always drop back a little bit and slingshot and have some fun, if you so choose. You're not going to really screw up the dynamic too badly. So that's just something to consider as well. There's just different strategies, right? Different techniques that you can use to kind of deal with this sort of stuff. Just use your judgment, guys. I think the number one thing you can do as a motorcyclist to keep yourself safe and your group safe is just, the classic thing of like common sense, right? Common sense and like just thinking about the world around you, the bikes around you, everyone's perspective. And if you take that all into consideration, you'll probably do okay. And you know what? God forbid the worst does happen, or the group ride doesn't go well, or whatever the heck the thing is. You spend a nice sunny day out in the beautiful countryside, and you chalk it up to life, and you move on to the next one. You course correct, and figure out what went wrong on that ride, and make sure it doesn't happen on the next one. So, yeah, it's kind of my thoughts on that. I don't know if I have too much more to add. So with that, as always, thanks for watching. God bless America, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.